Hello everyone, thank you so much for tuning in and watching today. Welcome to LeanBean Beauty. I am Alina, and today's video is going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be a beauty related video. Instead, I wanted to talk about one of my all-time favorite movies, and that's a movie called Duel. Duel was released in 1971. It was directed by Steven Spielberg. It was his first movie, and it was actually a TV movie originally, but it was so successful that they actually brought him back in and brought the actors back in for reshoots so that they could extend the time and they could release it theatrically, which they did do. And it was very successful. And it was the success of that movie that allowed Spielberg to make Jaws, which was also a massive success when that was released. I don't want to give too much of the plot away because if you're going to see it, then you really want to go in as fresh as possible. But I will say that the basic premise of the film is about a guy who is driving to a meeting for his job, and he's driving on these desolate roads. I'm not sure where the movie takes place. I'm not sure if they ever specify that, but it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and there's this truck, there's this big Mack truck who is in front of him, and he passes the truck, and the guy in the truck starts messing with him. He starts stalking him and following him and basically terrorizing him. And that's all I'm going to say about the plot. One of Spielberg's biggest influences as a director was Alfred Hitchcock. And you can see the influence of Hitchcock all throughout this movie. The suspense is done so well. The suspense just builds and builds and builds. And the way that it's cut, you would never think in a million years that this was originally a TV movie. It just looks like a movie. And it's so good. It's really well acted. It stars Dennis Weaver. And the truck itself is the monster in this movie. The truck is really the villain in this movie, just like the shark was the monster in Jaws. There's not a lot of dialogue in this movie. There's also not a lot of music in this movie. The music in this movie is used very sparingly, and yet it's incredibly effective. It's a very sort of not in your stomach viewing experience, and Spielberg is a very great director, as we know, and he doesn't resort to anything like the jump scare. Not that that was really a popular thing in the 70s or the 80s. I feel like that's more of a more recent phenomenon, that jump scare that encapsulates all these scary movies nowadays. There's no cheap thrills in this movie. The scares are real. The threat is very, very real, and you really feel that as you're watching this movie. When I first saw this movie years ago, it really blew me away. I could not believe that this was anyone's first movie. It was so incredibly well done and so well acted and so well put together that you just can't believe that this is a first effort from anyone. It's so good, and I try to watch it as much as I can. It's remained one of my favorites, and I highly recommend it. Even if you're not necessarily a horror fan or a suspense fan, it's really worth checking out. So that is it. That is it for my little mini review / commentary. I am thinking of doing this a little more often and just talking about certain movies that I love and that I've had in my life. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you soon. Have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.